Aloha and welcome to Wisdom Dialogues with Hope Johnson, coming to you from Lake Whatcom outside of Bellingham in Washington. Yay. Yes, I'm so happy to be with all of you. Thank you so much for joining. Hmm. So here's the thing that has been made very, very clear through uh, throughout these past few weeks, especially, is that the self that you made is not wrong. It's not bad. When it's not being accepted, it's not allowed to express the truth which is unity, unity in God, united in God. See? Because that's expressed not directly through the actions or the language or anything like that. It's expressed through like a vibration, an energetic frequency that comes from acceptance of your self of form, the self that you made. See, there seems to be this constant wanting something to be different, wanting some kind of change in circumstances, wanting a change in the world, wanting to change your appearance. That there's that constant wanting. That's something that's not to be ignored and also not to be taken as if it uh, defines you. See? So that sense of a wanting self, there seems to be a tendency to bypass that wanting self. And, you know, when it's bypassed, it's really repressed and it comes out as, you could say, moods, feeling trapped in repetitive thinking. See, I could say this for myself. When there's repetitive thinking arising in my perception, I don't mind. See, it's not a matter of trying to stop it. I can't stop it, but I can be present to it and let it be seen in the light of presence. And that way I could actually recognize what it is I'm believing about myself that makes that feeling arise. See, it's kind of like you can't get to the root of it while you're chasing the symbol itself. See, by either trying to get rid of it or fix it or something, right? Or trying to ignore it, trying to stop it. It's just kind of like, oh, I can relax with this because I am that space and you are that space of total relaxation. You know, the only reason you don't free fall right into that complete relaxation is fear of that much release. Natalie was bringing up fear of releasing the world. Look at how that looks in the practical sense. Notice how that looks in the practical sense. That's release from anything that seems to be agitating for you, right? Uh, and in this way, you're not trying to get rid of the agitation. The agitation can be there and you're released from it. You're not making yourself wrong for it. You're not doubting yourself because of it. This is a full acceptance of however you seem to feel. And people, of course, reflect our mind. So, of course, there's going to be people that reflect non acceptance of the self of form that you made. Don't let their non acceptance tempt you to stop accepting. It's like you accept their self that they made too, that seems to be non accepting. That's what helps everyone because then they can see too that the non acceptance doesn't mean anything. When you're not looking to the field, the first place we look to the field is to the feeling aspect, even without knowing it. Resisting feelings instead of just inviting presence within that upset feeling. Letting it be like a catalyst, letting it be used, not taking the symbol for the reality. The symbols are not reality. There isn't anything here. And that's including feelings. Feelings are signals, they're directional. Like, say you're in a relationship with someone and say they reflect to you something that you don't like. Maybe it's dismissiveness, maybe it's lack of integrity, or something like that. It's directional. It may mean that the relationship is shifting. It's signal. See? The relationship may be shifting. It's kind of like, oh, I'm noticing some movement. It's not a problem. It's not problematic at all. Oh, I know it. I'm noticing some movement. The movement might be deeper compassion. The movement might be some clear communications. It might be boundaries. Like, we don't know. It's all for fun. And there's not particular things in the field that are just automatically off limits because no one's guilty. One of the common questions that people ask who want to learn about A Course in Miracles and this way of seeing, one common question is, well, what about rape and murder and all of those kinds of things? Hurting children, apparently that's something that's in the field right now, this idea of hurting children. And who knows, that may be something, maybe they've got something there as far as relative reality. And here's the thing, when it comes to stuff like that, it's not a matter of just going to, okay, but nothing's real. Yeah, that's true. Nothing's real. And at the same time, if anyone needs to be restrained in any way or whatever needs to arise as a natural consequence of not of actions, not of actions, of forgetfulness. There are natural consequences of forgetfulness because it's a guilty forgetting. That's all it is. It's self-doubt. And that demands punishment. That's just how it goes. And it's like the perception is punishment. That doesn't mean I'm saying anyone should punish anyone either. And of course, it's God's will, and therefore it's my will and your will that no one has to suffer any consequences of anything they even thought. So that's something. Because when we hear a story about evil pedophiles eating babies and sacrificing and all that kind of stuff, and you notice the feeling reaction, because even to hear me say that, for instance, you're already vibrating to the frequency. That's what's beautiful. So you hold that frequency within the space of truth, within your awareness of perfect unity. Don't use perfect unity to push the feeling away. It's all feeling, everything's feeling. And ultimately, everyone is going to see that they've never separated. They've never left the kingdom of God. That's not possible. It's not like you're locked in there like a prisoner. It's just that it is you. It's who you are. You can't leave. You can only dream of leaving. I was talking with a young man last night, and he was relating to me about the Garden of Eden. And he was saying how God made separation out of Adam's rib, took Adam's rib and made Eve. So he was saying how God created the separation by doing that. And I go, okay, he has read right up to that point. And I said, did you notice the part where it said Adam fell asleep? And he goes, yeah, I did see that. And I go, okay, it never says anywhere in the Bible where he woke up. The whole thing is his dream. And he's like, are you saying that all those guys who wrote the Bible, or the Bible was written in a dream? And I go, the whole thing is up to now, up to us having this conversation right now. It's all part of Adam's dream. And then he goes, well, that seems to put a lot of importance on Adam. And I go, it's all Adam.
Madam, I'm Adam.
Yep.
Frontwards and backwards, it reads the same.
Wow. Madame, that's good. That's a good one. Madame. That says Adam right in there. I just noticed that. Thank you, Natalie. I'm I'm Adam.
Madam, I'm Adam.
Oh my goodness. Wow, that's fun. Yeah.
Me, my little word plays and that kind of stuff.
And then he goes, well, who is Adam? And I go, Adam is the son of God. This guy's a Christian, right? Or a Catholic. It's Catholic, yeah. And then he goes, well, who's Jesus then? Isn't he the son of God? I go, yeah. He was like, whoa, I have never thought of it that way. I just have to process that later. I'm really glad about that point of view. I'm really glad about that because Adam Boom dropped. Oh, okay, interesting. Adam Boom. Yeah, that's funny. Oh my gosh, that's another one. That it's called the atom bomb. Everything's symbolic. When you start seeing it, you see all the synchronicity. And the synchronicities, they're not so you can get what you want in the field or anything. I mean, that comes as a matter of course when you're listening. The synchronicities are to show you that you're dreaming. See that? They're to show you that you're dreaming. You know, dreaming is obvious when you're willing to see that you are dreaming. It becomes obvious. It's like, oh, of course. Look at that. How can that be random? And I love that the Catholic dude that was waking up, he's actually waking up to Catholicism from being kind of agnostic, waking up to Catholicism. And he said, I don't know, it just gives me comfort when I go and have um, their rituals. I guess they're called rituals or rites, maybe. I don't know. They have some kind of ceremony that they do. Eucharist, okay. Yeah, they have some kind of ceremonies that they do, and it gives them comfort. I'm like, that's perfect for you. You don't have to question whatever it is that you're on, because I was talking to him about ACIM. Have to question whatever it is that you're on. It comes to trusting that that's the right one. That's how you can hear guidance. It's like you resign as your teacher, even for setting up the lesson plan, right? You leave the lesson plan to the spirit, and that is one way of saying it, your higher self, anyways. But from the self of form that you made that seems to be making decisions about what you seem to be doing in the world and what lesson plan is perfect for you, that one doesn't know. So when you accept that it doesn't know, it's like the mind's not going out to try to make a lesson plan, but it's getting the message now. There's only now. And society is totally set up to get us out of the now. It's always like something urgent is going on. On Wednesday, when one of my friends came over, he was just like super turned on emotionally about whatever Trump is doing. Uh, it's like, this is it. This is it. This is the thing. This is the one. Like, it's like the question, when is it going to hit? It reminds me of the lava flow of 2014 when it was just flowing really, really slow toward town. All the news reporters were there and everything. They're interviewing us and kind of like asking us about living in this town where lava's flowing down to it.
Where was it heading toward the water treatment plant or something?
No, it was headed toward Pahoa, right down the middle of it.
Like something major in Pahoa, right? Wasn't it?
Yeah, it was
Some facility.
it went towards the dump and
Okay.
yeah, it didn't wipe too much out, but my son was like, when is it going to hit? Because there was just all this emotional upheaval. He got tired of the emotional upheaval. Like, when is it actually going to hit so we can get over this? Right? It's like the, you could say the world is meant to keep us distracted. And it was especially interesting too, because, um, I noticed this astrological chatter about this new moon eclipse that we just had. And I noticed some astrological chatter about that being an intense time as far as the cosmos go for receiving information that you wouldn't normally be receptive to. So and then it also coincided with, oh my God, Trump did some really big thing. It's going to change everything now so that people are distracted. It's interesting how those things coincide. It's like, here's an opportunity to be still and calm and listen. And then here's a bunch of chaos, right? And it's like, you don't have to try not to hear the shit. That's not what it is. You're not being asked to avoid the world. You're being asked to sort of like integrate this stuff. Most people who have awareness of unity also do not have this coinciding acceptance of the world. The self that we made basically is projecting this world that we seem to perceive. We're not really capable of perceiving. That's why I put it that way. It's like a dream of perceiving. It really does require a lot of layers for us to have this experience. It takes a lot of layers to make it seem like we can be separate, to make it seem like there's a world out there where people are doing heinous things. People are doing stupid things. People are not spiritually awake. Right? I can attest to that. I finally left my profile on a dating app. I left it there for 2 days. Had quite a few conversations in that time. And it's like the general level of consciousness seems to be like a low frequency, like confused and dull. And what else?
Extractive. These energies were
Extractive. Uh-huh. Very extractive. Yes, that's right. That's what I noticed too. And I had a really nice conversation with a young man who, was talking about sex and he was having a hard time performing, you know. And then there's all this fantasy and masturbation going on. The porn culture taught us to have all these fantasies and have and do masturbating a bunch. And it's just it weakens the energy field because it's not because of the actions themselves, but it's because of this extractive, that's a really good word for it, energy trying to extract from the moment and instead of express in the moment and extend in the moment. Expressing love, sharing love. It's not like people are bad for not wanting to do it. They just don't know how. They don't get it yet. And they don't seem to be at a like a cognitive level. It even seems like a cognitive level to understand it anytime soon. Right? Definitely have had some conversations though that have kind of like, shined a light in the mind. I know it's like seeds being planted. Whatever I find myself doing, I know that's perfect. When I find myself interacting with people, anything like that, it's also comical too. It's really comical. I was talking with a guy who was 25 today, 25 years old apparently, and he said, "So you like younger men?" And I was like, "You know what? I'm interested in men who can move their hips." Okay. I meet guys like half my age, their hips are already not working. What the fuck? I'm trying to get some dance on. I don't care what age you are. And by the way, if your hips aren't moving well in dance, they're not moving well other places either. It's just all comical. It's just all purely comical.
This word villain kind of was coming up for me too, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm afraid of seeing a healed world. I'm afraid of not having any villains to blame.
You're afraid of not having any villains to blame.
Yeah.
That's a good noticing.
Yeah, the word villain was
Yeah.
really hard for me the past couple days.
Yeah, so now see where you're placing villains, sometimes very subtly,
Yeah.
right? That person didn't follow some expectation that I had. Sometimes it's very subtly where you go, "Oh, I've made a villain." Yeah, I've seen Tony uh work some major miracles with that in that regard, the sense of seeing villains. Because just to tell his story a little bit, when we were first getting together, which was like 30 some years ago, he found out because I spilled the beans to him uh, that I was molested by my stepdad and fucked up and stuff like that. And I told him stories about things that I seemed to remember and everything like that. And at that point, I believed that this stuff was very real, right? And so Tony saw a major villain in him. And he took it all the way. Well, he didn't kill him, but he definitely beat his ass really well. And later on, and there's another thing is, symbolism that's just showing you that it's a dream. It's a dream. Later on, he perceives me running around with Chaitin in Hawaii, and he perceives him as victimizing me and me as agreeing to be abused this time, right? And, Tony has commented, he is just the sweetest villain I can have. This is just the sweetest fucking villain I could possibly have. What a blessing. Right? I mean, it just shows it's showing so much love for yourself and in your willingness, right? And then here's the other part that really reveals that it's so dreamlike. They both, my stepdad and Chaitin, have the same birthday. One out of 365, apparently. I'm just gonna crack up if I start hanging out with another person with that same birthday. I didn't know that I didn't know that it was the same birthday until more recently. And my sister asked me, she said, "What's his birthday?" And I said it, and she goes, "Oh my God." And I'm like, "What?" And she told me, "That's my dad's birthday." And I'm like, "No way, that is the weirdest thing ever." Right? The symbolism just it shows you it's a dream. It's all orchestrated. It's like your forgiveness wasn't complete, right? That it's kind of like the opportunity for it didn't arise again. So let's say from Tony's perspective, he carried out that whole perception of him beating my stepdad's ass without any kind of forgiveness going on at all, right? So then later on, when he's more ready to forgive, he's basically manifesting the same opportunity in another form. He's just manifesting that so that he can complete that. It's really kind when you see it, how we give it to ourselves, right? And it's like, from my perspective too, it's like everyone and all involvement is getting a healing opportunity. From my perspective too, the healing couldn't complete because I didn't have let's say a catalyst, something to forgive. Because like back then when I used to mess around with guys that would tell me something and then tell me something else and tell me something and tell me something else, I'm just like, fuck those guys, And I like, something's wrong with them. And I had a plan with it too. I was having a fun plan with it. I just wouldn't fall in love with anyone, and I would just use them for fun And then whenever they start acting like that, just go later on, fucker. There's like lots of other dudes around. So when I got to have the experience of falling in love is a way to say it, and that's not saying anything's weak too. I want to uh, just express this about falling in love. It's not like it's a weakness to fall in love. That's actually great strength. You know, it's releasing of boundaries, it's releasing of fear, it's allowing yourself to be held deeply. It's just where the attachment comes in, where you start making it about the other person, and that's really hooking. That's super hooking. You know, when it's when you start making it about the other person, those thoughts just layer on really fast. And then all of a sudden you're lost in a sea where it seems like it really is about the other person. And then all of a sudden you got something to lose. So, you know, I went through all of that and then had the same kind of experience like when I was younger, and the sense of the push and pull and the like, gosh, why can't they just see that this is fucking awesome having this kind of spark together? It's kind of like a rare thing that seems to go down too. Just like playing it. What's so scary about it, you know? So, anyways, it comes around again for me to have the opportunity to complete the forgiveness. There's no way for me to complete the forgiveness without having something to forgive. Those ones in the past, they're not triggering, right? And here's the thing about triggering and getting triggered, that is helpful. It's not something to resist. Okay. It's always showing you that there's something there, an opportunity for forgiveness to take place. However, anything works out, changes, anything like that, that will occur automatically as it needs to. There's nothing to try to manage or control about outcomes.
A question about helpfulness
Mm-hmm.
in these special relationships.
Yes.
So surely you and your friends did play in the spark.
Yes.
There were moments of that.
Oh, yes.
And
yes.
But then there's also the forgiveness opportunities. Both of those are equally helpful.
Both of those, okay, so Natalie's question, there was playing in the spark and there's forgiveness opportunities. And she's saying, are both of those equally helpful? Yes, anything that arises in the field, it's helpful. It's a, and you could say, yes, it's equally as helpful. You know, without that kind of spark, there's not going to be all of these other, you know, the depth that it goes to with these with these emotional plays. The emotional plays don't trigger anything and don't mean anything without some emotional depth. That's why I heard Muji before say, just stay on the surface, don't go into emotional depth, right? But that's not really what's being asked. You know, it's actually being able to go into the emotional depth with awareness of what it's for. See? It's the awareness of what it's for. There's going to automatically be fear uh, when there's fear there to be seen through. That's why people are afraid of going to the emotional depths. And that's why, you know, earlier on, I decided apparently that I was just not going to fall in love. They do that push pull thing and I'm out of there. I'm just not going to do that. I'm going to just see that the relationship is only for strategizing. You know, having some fun. That's my strategy. Having some fun. One part was getting some free sushi, right? I'd let them know. I didn't like bake anything. I'd let him know I want some free sushi. Right. So when there's that sense of falling in love, all those other strategies, like about how you want to use that person, those fall away. Truly falling in love, it's like those kinds of strategies about losing a person, about using a person fall away. And then it comes to, there's a shock in that. Like, whoa, is it about the other person? And for myself, I could say immediately I knew it wasn't about the other person. I'd notice something gripping in my mind toward him, and immediately I'd meet that and be like, that is not me. Not to resist it or anything, but just to notice, whoa, that is not me. Something's up to be seen here. But that doesn't stop automatically the programming and the body response to that programming that's playing beneath the surface. So the alertness needs to be present over and over again as those thoughts, those miscreative thoughts about needing a person in the field keep on arising. Because the ego thoughts are like that. They're very persistent. They're persistently knocking. So it comes down to staying alert. And acceptance and staying alert go together. If you're not accepting yourself, you're not alert. Because now you're dramatizing how you are. And it's a lot of the times it's taken like some kind of fantastical thing that you're perfect right now. You're perfect right now, just as you are. But it's really literally true. And it's because exactly as you are useful. For the most part, people have an idea of an evolved form of themselves that's somehow better than the form of themselves that they have right now. There's a lot of apologizing. There's a lot of explaining. There's a lot of justification. See? There's a lot of fear of seeing the self you made that's a secret self. It's being held in secret from you and then projecting outward. That secret self that you're afraid to look on represents your fear of a healed world. And that self that you're afraid to look on, but secretly believe you are that self. So you can never be that self that you made. When you secretly believing that you're this self, it makes you afraid of seeing a healed world, because where would you belong in that healed world? See, that secret self that you made, it's like something that you tried to hide away. It's all these treacherous thoughts about you that the ego told you that you were when you didn't know better. Now you're knowing, or you're coming into the knowing that you're one with all. You're one with God, you're cherished, you're loved, you never left your source. And to bring that into the world, you bring it through the sense of the sense of self, the self that you made. You bring it through the self that you made by total acceptance of the self that you made. That's the only thing preventing people from actually living as the self of perfect union. A young man told me last night that he's never going to be a saint. And that is the separation speaking. Because if you perceive anyone as being a saint, if you can imagine it, even if you can imagine anyone being a saint, that comes from you. There is no separation. You're all those potentials at once. I mean, really, it's like, how would a saint see this right now? Whatever it is that you're perceiving, that might be very helpful for you. How would a saint look at this? Would a saint be judging their own actions? Would a saint be questioning whether they showed up in the right way at all? What makes them a saint? Look at that. And the way I look at it, everyone is pure light, pure son of God. There's no way to be anything else. So when I interact with people who think they are something else, I just know the truth. I don't need to tell them. I don't need to convince them, although that could come out of my mouth, and it often does. It often does come out of my mouth. I let myself be used in that way. It's the highest joy. And I also let myself be used for silence when that's what's being called. It's a matter of saying only what we're being called to say and not more than that. How does that work out? Because we're not really in charge of what we say. So how does that work out? It's in the direction of thought. When you get the perception that you are responsible for them somehow, or you get, if you get agitated, that's how you know. It's like, oh, come back to awareness. How do I be helpful in this situation? Or, like I said before, how would a saint see this? Acceptance isn't going to come from another person. It's never going to come from another person, no matter how much they seem to accept you, even. But we tend to get angry, irritated with people who don't accept us. And that right there is the opportunity for self acceptance, deeper self acceptance. It's also a matter of not judging that person, so not for not regarding you in the way that you think they should be regarding you. You really demonstrate to your own mind that you're fully lovable and acceptable when you have a perception like that, and you just notice, oh, that doesn't mean anything about me. I'm worthy of my acceptance right now. And, from my experience, the acceptance also extends to whatever person is not giving me acceptance. So I give them with exactly what I would like to have from them. That's how giving and receiving is taking place, anyways. What would I give to them in reaction or response to them seeming to judge me or demean me or not be accepting of me in some way? You're perfectly unaffected by all forms of judgment, whether that's projected onto you by yourself, from yourself to yourself, from yourself to another person, or from another person to you. You are perfectly unaffected by that. When you decide otherwise, you can make it seem like you've been affected. So that means all non acceptance, all forms of it, can be dropped right now. You could be released from that right now. It doesn't matter if your mind is racing, your heart is beating fast, anything like that. You see, if you're willing, you'll see how to rest right beneath that. Let that chaos kind of like spin around. Your fear, when you talk about fear of a healed world, that's fear of relaxing in the midst of this, whatever it is. It's fear of relaxing within this perception. It's not trying to get to a better perception. You don't have to figure out anything. You don't need to learn anything else. Really, it's like you don't even need to forgive. It's an openness and a willingness to recognize that forgiveness is. That's the only answer to any unforgiveness. It's the only answer to fear or lack or uncertainty. Forgiveness now. And forgiveness of the self that you made seems to be the most difficult. Perhaps you go for a while forgiving all these other actors and players in your field. I know for myself, I don't get a sense of unforgiveness for actors and players in the field. I could just see them playing out their mindsets, and there's nothing there really to forgive. It's the attacks on myself that I see are forgiveness opportunities. So you could say the practice is coming back into knowing, and this is a constant thing, just coming back into knowing that there's nothing wrong with the self that you made. It doesn't need anything. And look, let's say your idea, this is coming from an experience that I had last night. Your idea is that you're really bad at sex and there's no way to get better and you've got erectile dysfunction, right? Here's the thing, if you don't accept that that form as it is right now, with all of that apparent uh, imperfection, if you don't accept the self of form as it is, it can't expand. So let's say getting what you want, a healthy sex life in this dude's case, let's say getting what you want would be very difficult, not impossible, but very difficult going through it without acceptance of how the self is now. And this is plain for me to see because when there's acceptance of how the self is now, that's where all the information comes in. Of course, I gave him a little bit of information, like where he could look, how he can start to unwind his mind. I notice people that think they need something. Like, for instance, this guy was telling me he needs his energy drink first thing in the morning. I don't care what the illusion is telling you. Do not believe a thought like that. That hurts your mind. Erectile dysfunction is an effect of thinking in that way. Like you need something. You don't need anything, right? Sometimes people ask me, "Do I drink coffee?" And I was like, "Yes, especially over here. I've got the Breville. I got the Breville here. It makes these shots and foams up my milk and everything like that. Yes, I do." Do you drink it first thing when you get out of bed? I wouldn't think of anything about it if I did, but I don't. I don't drink it first thing when I first get out of bed. That's not the first thing. I don't feel like I need it. If I did feel like I need it, I would recognize that that's a projected feeling until that feeling didn't show me that anymore. Like I just don't get a feeling like I need anything because it's just, I guess you could say it's my patterning at this point. Unpatterning. It's really unpatterning it's kind of like a change in patterning so it's more coherent with what's actually true. I don't get the sense that I need anything and I can use all kinds of different things. It's not like I have to resist thing. Oh, I might get addicted to something, right? Because it's just uh, I guess you could say it's my way of being to interact with anything like that. I don't need it, and if it's arising, it's useful.
What's more interesting to me too lately is I'm like, well, who even cares? Like, who cares about the whole conversation about the coffee? What's interesting to me is like, why are these people rising in my field that are wanting me to justify and evaluate meaningless things? Like, that's coming from me.
Uh-huh.
Like
Yep.
that's where the irritation is.
That's where the irritation is, right? Yeah, so Natalie's saying what's more interesting to her, and look at what's interesting to you, because that shows you where it's at, right? So Natalie's saying what's more interesting to her is not the conversation about the coffee, but why are people interested in evaluating meaningless things,
Why,
right?
yeah, why have they come into my field of perception and
And why did they come into my field of perception evaluating meaningless things? So, that's a very common play by the ego to be like, I'm beyond evaluating meaningless things.
yeah,
So those guys evaluating meaningless things in my field are separate.
yeah,
That's all.
yeah.
So it's just bringing you back to that acceptance of self. Self is not just the form that you made, but it's everything that you're perceiving, right? All that's the self you made, the self of form and everything that you're perceiving. So that includes everyone. right? So when someone's having a conversation with me like that, I'm encouraging them to see it differently, right? I don't get into any kind of arguments with anyone or anything like that. If they don't want to see it differently, they just shut off. They cut it off. But the man I was interacting with last night, he was really interested. He was like, yeah, he had just gone through an experience where his younger brother passed away, and he was a young man. He must have been in his 30s because this guy's only 39. So the younger brother passed away, and then he's like recently spiritual again, going into the Catholic thing. And he's telling me about energy drinks, and then also sexual dysfunction that goes along with that, and saying that he needs all this protein and he needs to work out in the gym and he's really stiff. And I'm just like looking at the patterns and I'm noticing them. And wherever I'm getting guidance to share anything, I couldn't share everything. That would take 10 hours. But it shares something, um, just to kind of like seed the mind, however uh, uh, that progression looks, however it grows, not up to me. I'm just enjoying myself in the moment, and of course, enjoying his reactions so many times. It's like I've never heard that point of view before. Thank you for sharing that point of view. Like that's going to blossom, right? What I noticed the most about talking with people, I mentioned that I left my profile up this time on a dating app. I had put my profile on it was a couple different dating apps, and then after a few minutes, just take it right down before I even have any conversations or anything. I'm like, no, anyone I need to meet, they'll just come knocking at my door or whatever, So then, yeah, got a wild hair again. Really, it's just a gentle nudge from the Holy Spirit. Check this out over here. So, got to have a lot of interactions, definitely interacting with people on different wavelengths. There's people on there that just want to have some sexy talk with you or have you give them a picture or do something like that. And, I played around with that for a few minutes and I was like, that's boring. Okay. I was, I'm just gonna, uh, I'm just gonna tell everyone what I want. And because there's like I think there's hundreds of requests coming in. So then I just go, okay, here's what we're gonna do. I'm just going to go, aloha. Thank you for contacting me. I'm looking for dancing. If you enjoy dancing and you're willing to come over here and dance with me and be friends before pursuing any romance, let me know. And then that weeds them out a bunch. So we'll see how that goes. Uh, it's It's interesting and fun to also see the time management kind of uh, perception that arises in that. Because I'll start to notice, not sure I really want to spend that much of my time doing stuff like this. And so I'm playing with that because nothing's right or wrong. I'm just playing with that. I'm noticing this is how I am in it. I'm noticing the moment where I'm going, I don't want to be doing this. And it's like, okay, what is it that's speaking there? I don't want to be doing this. What am I losing? What do I fear right now? Because that sense, I could see that sense. It's like a pull back, it's a certain momentum. What is it am I afraid of losing if I stay here in this perception? What is it that I'm afraid of losing? Remember, time is an illusion, right? And then noticing, okay, if I shut it off, and I've played even with I've only been on there for 3 days. I've played even with shutting it off and turning it back on. Okay, when I shut it off, what happens? What sense do I get? Oh, I'm back into a quiet No chatter, no other. Okay. So can I also take that same sense of quiet and no chatter and no using my time for something that's like meaningless or just silly and have that same sense of quiet? See, it doesn't matter what activity I seem to be engaged in. It's noticing the movements of the mind. Where would it make me limited? See, so even saying that, man, do I want to waste my time? It's not like that. It comes down to joy in the moment, what's exciting, what's motivating in the moment. And there's no judgment about that. I explore all kinds of different realms. I explore all kinds of different realms. It's not, um, you could say it's not to try to find something in the world. It's just for the sheer joy of exploring different realms, right? It's not trying to get anything out of it. It's just sheer joy of exploring. Um, and who knows how long that goes on? It doesn't matter. That's the thing, too, about accepting the self, because the expression of of the truth, which is unity, which is pure unity, that can only be expressed through the self of form that we made. And if we're not allowing it to be completely free, then that expression doesn't come through clearly. When the self of form is being held in a way that's judgmental toward it, and the freedom is being restrained. And in that, the self of form can't be a demonstration of our unity. One thing I like to express is nothing wrong or bad ever happens, right? I know with talking with people, sometimes they're kind of like stumbling, like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't want to do it wrong. And, I'm going, you're not going to do it wrong. You don't have to be afraid of that at all. You'll feel like you are doing it right a lot more often if you would just accept that the way you're doing it, the way you're saying it, the way you're acting anything out is perfect for everyone involved. Sometimes when I recognize patterns and I see something and I'll express it and it's like, oh, the person will be like, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm like, no, it's nothing like that. It's not a problem. For me, the forgiveness already is. So when I'm recognizing patterns in the field, all it's doing is preventing me from unconsciously playing into them. It's not making me need an apology from anyone. It's kind of protective in that way, where I could see the trajectory and what I'm being invited to play into and not play into it. That helps both of us and all of us, because there's only one of us.
When you find yourself having the perception that you are doing a thing called putting your profile on the site, at some point you are realizing that it's like, and I don't have a choice in this. The actual action, the perception of there being an action that's occurring.
Okay, so she's asking about making a profile on the dating site, and she said, is there some point where you notice that you don't have a choice in the action that's arising? Well, you know, the idea that you don't have a choice in the action that's arising, that's to help you get to the point of accepting yourself. within whatever is arising. Okay. So for me, that focus of it, of me not having a choice is not really relevant within that. What I'm noticing is that it's for acceptance whenever there's any question about whether I should be doing that. That's really demonstrating to the mind that the self is wholly accepted as it is. So there's no evaluation of meaninglessness. What ends up getting evaluated is the thought itself that's saying, should I be doing this? See what gets evaluated there?
Yeah.
Rather than the behavior being evaluated, it's the thought about the behavior that gets evaluated. So it's a step back.
Yeah.
See that? So then, that'll just bring a huge smile to your lips, right? In whatever you're doing. It's like, oh shit, I know any interaction that I have is helpful, you know, in whatever way it is. For one thing, just being so direct like that, here's what I want to know. Do you enjoy dancing and are you coming over here to dance? And also, can you do it without making the moves on me?
Well, one thing too,
Yeah.
this is all coming from
Yeah, go for
a
it.
perception of having been on online dating sites for like 10 years.
Online dating sites for 10 years. Okay, great. Give it to me.
It don't put any weight into what the answer. You can ask that question. The answer that you get is going to be coming from people that don't know who they are
Yeah,
and what they want. So
right,
when their actions don't correlate to what they typed in
right.
response, don't get all flustered because you'll get a lot of that.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, I won't. I'm doing it all for fun.
yeah.
I don't even really need a dance partner. I really don't.
Yeah.
I'm doing it all for fun. And in fact, the first person that I talk to seems like a really good match for like being friends and just because he's like, I'll take you to ecstatic dance. There's a Friday night ecstatic dance in Bellingham. I'll take you to ecstatic dance and I'll drop you off outside and I'll go look for a parking spot. And I'm like, yeah, and he dances all the time. And I've had a fun conversation with him. Yeah, it's like, he was telling me, yeah, it's a trip on the dating sites. It's like a numbers game. You have to keep on just going through it and going through it and going through it, and eventually, and I go, oh, really? Well, you're the first person I talked to. He's like, what? It's like we've known each other forever. it's, it's really funny.
One thing that I noticed from the female perspective is we as females on these sites were setting these dudes up
Uh-huh.
as of like, oh well, he said he was this way, but then here now I'm interacting with him in real life, and he's totally different than what he typed. And so then us ladies were getting together and we want to prop that feeling up of like,
Right.
oh, I've been done wrong because this guy, yet another one,
Yeah.
isn't who he said he was.
Sure, that's
Like,
that's
oh
there too. So Natalie's talking about how on these dating sites they're writing stuff about themselves that isn't really true. And so she's seeing how the women are complaining with to each other about how these guys are like this. Yeah, that's entirely in your perception. It's coming up for your seeing like this total acceptance, right? But what I'm saying is, I had to like just stay on there and fuck around a little bit with all these other dudes that were coming around. It was fun. But I actually met someone who's fucking awesome that we just like automatically, it was like we knew each other, and it was the first person I talked to. So that's fun. Just like, but then, it's like the first person I talked to was like that. And then I still kept on going. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm getting a feel for how the field is, what people are coming into. It's just all comical to me. I think it's really funny. I mean, one boy I'm saying boy because he calls himself a boy, but he's over 18. He is 24. He is so sweet, so sweet. And then I get on FaceTime with him, because I like to FaceTime with someone before I meet him. I get on FaceTime with him, and he's just all kissy face. He's like, like that. And I'm like, oh my God, you are so cute. And then he just gets up and he starts jacking off. And I'm like laughing, laughing, laughing. And he's like, you don't like it? And I go, oh yeah, this is some, I haven't seen this in a while, and this is some really good entertainment. He's like, you don't like my penis or whatever. And I go, well, it's not really a matter of liking it or not. It's just kind of like I wasn't expecting to see that right now, and it's just really funny. So if you want to keep on going, that's okay. So then the next thing you know, he's back. His face is back to the screen. Anyways, that guy just wants me to jack off to me, apparently. So that wasn't that interesting to me. But I did question it, like, am I interested? I didn't like automatically go, no, you can't be interested in that. That wouldn't be good. But I did question, am I interested in? Okay, let's see. Let's see how this goes. Let's see how I feel about this. So then it progressed more than that. He was so cute. What a sweetheart. Oh my God. I had a short relationship with this dude. It lasted about 2 days. So, so then I'm going to ecstatic dance, and I'm traveling to Bellingham to go to ecstatic dance, get there, and I park in this spot I think is a parking spot, and this woman tells me it's not a parking spot, and she's like, good luck finding a spot. So then I drive around for like 10 minutes.
What's that?
Bellingham, it's on Cornwall. I think it's 1418 Cornwall. So I don't find a spot. And the whole time I'm talking to this dude, this cute 24-year-old guy who I saw whacking off earlier, he just calls me on WhatsApp, right? So I'm like, okay. So he's like, come on, baby, come on, go home, and take your clothes off in front of the camera, and we'll take our clothes off together in front of the camera. And I'm like, I don't think I can get into that though. I mean, it's one thing if you want to come over, but he's kind of far too, apparently. It's one thing if you want to come over, but like in the camera, I don't know. That doesn't really seem like I can really get into it. So, so then I'm driving around looking for a spot, and I don't find a spot in like 10 minutes, and I'm like, okay, screw it. I'm going home. I'm getting on the camera with you. So, so I find myself doing that. And he's like, what's wrong? You're not into it. And I was like, yeah, I told you I probably wasn't going to get into it. And then I'm looking at this and I'm like, yeah, that's all belief too. Hmm. You know, uh, I just like to experience like whatever it is that's arising in the mind. So I'm like, I'm looking at it, I'm going, yeah, yeah, apparently that's not the thing. That's not the move for me. But the experience was really fun. So then when he tried to call me back again and wanted to do that again, I'm just like, no, no, thank you. I gotta go. But he's so sweet. I was just like, oh my goodness. It's like it's amazing. And he was going through uh, a sense, and probably still is going through a sense like he's poor, he works so hard, he's tired, he can't get ahead, he rents a room, all this other stuff. So, you know, always it's giving me an opportunity just to reflect back what's true. He's like, "What do you want?" He asked me today. Today was the last time I talked to him. He asked me, "What are you doing?" And I told him what I was doing. I was going from compression therapy to light therapy to massage. And he's like, "Are you rich?" And I was like, "Yes, I am." And he goes, "What do you want with a poor boy like me?" And I'm like, "You are not poor. He's like, yes, I am. I go, no, you've got everything. You've got everything within you. You need to trust that. Trust that you have everything that you need, right? It's all that. It's all you projecting like something's wrong with you. That's what I see over and over again with having conversations with people. I never get pissed at them because they're doing something or doing it wrong or they just want to use me for sex, right? I don't mind at all. I see the innocence, and whatever it is I find myself in is totally perfect. It's totally perfect. It's totally for seeing through. And, it's like, that's definitely one way for this self of form to be used to interact in different realms. It's like into this mess that we made, God sends his messengers. See? Into whatever it is. It doesn't matter what it is. I mean, geez, on New Year's Eve when I was hanging out and we're at this club, I guess it'd be called a club, and there's a big concert and people on stage and everything. Man, I got the sense that there was just like some really strong dark energy circulating that place. Did you too, Natalie? I just got this sense like that was like majorly, and immediately it just came in. Thank goodness I'm here, right?
Yeah.
This is right where I belong, right in the midst of whatever it is, whenever it's called. That's not like I'm going around looking up online, where are the darkest places I can go? It's not like I'll just find myself in a situation like that and I'll be like, oh, thank goodness I'm here. And it's my willingness to see it that way that actually makes it that way. See, here's what dark energy is too. All dark energy is the same. There's no evil spirits. There's no people who are doomed souls or anything like that. Aloha, Alexia. I love you. There's nothing like that. It's trauma. Basically, it's trauma that has not been healed. There's no willingness to heal it, so it's circulating. That's all it is. So when you're recognizing that that's what it is, you actually become like a healing force within that. Miracles are flowing through you naturally because you're recognizing what darkness is while having that perception. The first perception that came up was, I got to get the fuck out of here. I don't belong here. I'm way too light for this. That's always the ego. The ego wants you to be running to comfort. You didn't, let's say this. You didn't come here for comfort, to get comfort. Comfort is a natural effect of doing your function. So then I ended up feeling comfortable. In the next breath, I end up feeling comfortable with where I seem to be in those very same surroundings. There wasn't any urge to leave the place, right? The urge had passed. The ego signals danger or something like you shouldn't be here. You shouldn't be in this situation. Having video sex, for instance, video chat sex. It wasn't really sex. My goodness. Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, it was interesting. I think I'm only getting a full grasp of what was going on all those years when I was doing the dating.
When you were doing the
apps.
dating? Mm-hmm.
Because here I am, getting the perception that these men, they're creating this persona and it's not who they truly are. Well, again, I was doing that too.
You were creating a persona too that's not really who you are.
Yeah, that it's yeah, the opportunity is really ripe, I think, for anyone on these sites to laugh at the fact that you are, because that's what we're doing in this
Sure.
world, but on the smaller scale, it's like, here, I'm just gonna type up this self,
Yeah.
and it's like, it's kind of hilarious.
I have a
And
one.
I'm so proud of mine. And people would be like, "Oh my god, you have the coolest profile ever! You just seem like the most amazing woman ever! Ah, I'm unworthy! Ah,
Oh, you okay, so she'd do her profile up to seem like the most amazing woman ever.
Yeah.
And a lot of guys would be like, "Oh my goodness," and feel like they're unworthy and stuff like that.
And like, so
Yeah.
now it's like, oh my god, like, why am I projecting the guilt on them? I was doing the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Like, I will never get what I want from a self I created.
You'll never get what you want out of a self you created. That's right. Yeah.
Manufactured.
Yes, a manufactured self.
Yeah.
So my whole profile says looking for dancing friends around Bellingham. That's my whole profile. They're like, what?
Easy.
And here's a photo.
Oh yeah, mine was a novel, pages long. Oh my god.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be on there that long, but who knows? Maybe over time I'll start making pages. I'll be there for 10 years or something. I don't know. I doubt it though. I doubt it though. Yeah, looking at too, being real direct and not going with the how are you and all that kind of stuff, and also not trying to be anything for them. That's a big thing. It's like not trying to be anything for them. It's like you can sort through them much quicker. It's like, okay, they say, hey, or what's up, or how are you doing? My response is three questions. Do you enjoy dancing? Are you willing to come to Bellingham to go dancing? And are you interested in having a friendship before you start pursuing romance? And then that gets it to okay, uh, uh, if it's yes, okay, next step, video call, and then it just makes it really streamlined. Because then there's barely any left in the field. There's barely any left there. And that design or procedure or whatever that is, that just automatically came to me from observing, wow, this can take a lot of time. Hey, hey, how are you? How are you? It's like, fuck all that. Let's just jump to answer these three questions.
And of course, like, the most important thing in all this is just like, it's just another opportunity to fulfill your function as the light of the world. I mean, it's no
Yep.
different than, there's no level confusion here. It's like,
Right.
you're here to.
You're there doing your function as the light of the world. That's what Natalie's saying. And yes, that's the most important thing. And when you're recognizing that that's the most important thing, and that's all you are willing to do, what I'm saying is that all practicalities also occur to you. You see how fucking practical that is, right? The solution that came to me. It saves a shitload of time about that. They come on. I don't ever go in there and look for dudes to like or anything like that. They come on and they like me. And then if I like them, I like them back. If they don't contact me, I'm not concerned about that. That can just fly by. If they say anything to me, I got three questions. And that practical thing, that just arises naturally because of the openness. A Course in Miracles, in chapter 3, one of the main teachings in there was you don't ask. All of your problems are solved. You don't ask. This is the way of asking. It's listening. It's in listening. It's in refusing to project lack of acceptance. One way of projecting lack of acceptance for the self you made is simply evaluating it. What needs to be evaluated are your thoughts about it. That's what needs to be evaluated. You kind of sort them out. Are they true or are they meaningless? That's the evaluation that takes place. See that? So anything, that's why, I share with you guys. I'm just like, man, anything that arises, I use it all for the very same thing. It doesn't matter. So there's not a questioning of did it go right? Did it go wrong? You know, one of the guys was like, I'm glad we did that. And I was like, me too, you know. And it was funny because it's like I didn't seem to get anything out of it in far as sexual terms. You know, there was a little bit of okay, yeah, all right, but it wasn't like ah, you know, like oh. Um, and I'm like, I'm totally glad it happened. You know, there's nothing that can go wrong. And the guy's like, well, why did you agree to do that with me? And I go, because it's maximally healing, you know? And it's like, he was like, sorry that he wasn't up to par, so to speak. Cause he asked me, he's like, well, how was that for you? And I was like, terrible. I'm not going to lie about it. That was terrible. You checked out. You went blank. You lost eye contact with me. Your breath wasn't synchronized. It was like you were doing something on your own. And your mind is focused on your performance and not our connection. So it's like he's like, "Whoa." He's like he took it really well. He was like he was like, "Well, what can I do?" And I told him, you know, you can check out Tantra, you could check out, I've heard of a book called Multi-Orgasmic Man. I've heard good reviews on something like that. You can you can start releasing some fascia and things like that. You know, just being gentle with yourself, but most of all, accepting the self you made right now. The self you made right now is very self serving. Being self serving doesn't actually serve you. You see that first by accepting the self that you made.
So, in this circumstance,
Yes.
certainly your response was coming from the mind, so his own mind. He also was looking for someone to prop up in his experience to tell him that he did it wrong. So that was his draw. Um,
Well, there's not he did it wrong. This is coming from my experience.
right, but sort of sensing into the energy of this where he's like, oh, well, how was it for you?
Uh-huh.
And then getting the response back, it's just like, well, it was terrible.
Yeah.
Um, so what does it feel like to be the voice? Like he set the whole thing up
Right.
so he could hear that.
Yeah.
And what does it feel like from your perspective to be the voice for what someone needs to hear?
Lovely. It
Yeah.
felt really lovely. It felt really loving. It felt like he came for that. It's like he came to hear that. Like he wanted to know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because he's not getting satisfaction and the people that he's engaging with aren't giving him that kind of feedback.
No.
Right? Pure, honest, not judgmental at all. Not judgmental on him at all. I'm telling him at the same time, you have to accept yourself because a major component here is he's not accepting himself, and that's what's making this whole manifestation like this too, right? Where it's like that's got to be hard. And this is a younger man, right? It's got to be hard. He's like, basically, I have ED. And I was like, you don't really have anything. You're giving it to yourself. Right. So, yeah. And I was like, no, there's nothing wrong with anything that went down. I'm really happy about it. I'm like, I see the patterning though. I see what's going on. It's like sex is so terrible for the women, for one thing. They just want to get it over with. And the women from their end are just using their bodies as like this bait to get something else out of you, right? To get you to talk to him, to get you to be nice to him, even to get you to marry him, anything like that. It's all strategy. No one really cares about actually having that sweet interaction together that manifests as really sweet, satisfying lovemaking that lasts and lasts and lasts. These little like quick little fucking boinks. That is not interesting to me at all. That's like some kind of an attainment vibe. That's like trying to, oh yeah, I got another notch. Let me see how many notches I can fucking get. I can get all kinds of notches. Apparently, I can have a date every night for that. Apparently.
Or Blaze was calling it kills in Hawaii.
Blaze was calling it kills. Yeah, actually calling it. That's right. He's calling it kills. It's a good one. Yeah. But everything is turning out really sweet in my experience. Um, just because I see the sweetness. I see all the sweetness. I don't have any problem with anyone. I'm not going, oh, the dating pool is. No, there's no dating pool. It's just my mind playing, right? The interactions, the relationships, however they unfold, are perfectly useful. That's why I never have a problem with any kind of way it goes down. The way it unfolds is really just such a blessing for us. So the way to recognizing that it's all blessing is to be in acceptance specifically of your feelings. Like I was sharing earlier, they're always directional. The relationship may be changing. The relationship may be deepening. The relationship may be falling apart, you might say. It doesn't really capture it because it's just orchestration for the highest good, for the most beneficial uh, constellation for awakening the mind. You know, it is kind of like constellation, however, bodies are positioned. So I started some new therapies since I got back. I started going to this wellness center where I can get compression, lots of compression where they kind of tie you up in these machines. My arms are out like this and they put the machine on and the machine keeps on compressing and it lasts an hour. I'll always have my arms in it just because it can go with the legs or it could go with the hips. So I always have my arms in it. That means I can't move for an hour. I can't touch my nose. Like my arms are just out like this. And I'm in a public place, right? So I'm just chilling there in this like big room and there's people all around. So, yeah. Yeah, it's a big old room. And so people are coming in for different things. They do IVs in there and they also do compression and different things. So one of the ladies who worked
So
there.
you hear other people talking?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, you can hear people talking and people are walking right by you. People come and check on you to see if everything's okay. Uh-huh. There's nurses and stuff walking around. So one of the nurses walked by me today when I happen to have my eyes open. I'm usually having my eyes closed. And she said, "You are just so relaxed in here." She's like, "I am just so inspired. I've seen you." I didn't see her because usually my eyes are closed. I've seen you for 3 days in a row, the last 3 days, just so relaxed in here. I want you to know it's so inspiring. She's like, "I've never done arms before." And I don't see people doing arms. You can also compress your legs and your hips, like I said. I don't see anyone else doing arms. And you know why? Because they're on their phone. So they can press somewhere else. They could use their phone. They don't know what they're going to do for an hour
Yeah.
without having their arms.
Yeah. Worst thing in the world, having to be alone with your own thoughts for an hour.
Oh, I know. I know. Well, it's like that's the thing for people. That's why I'm kind of like a self-care queen. I never met anyone who can like have the kind of self-care excitement that I have. You know, I actually go to that place every day to get compression therapy and always do my arms because it's the only thing that can pair with the legs and the core. Though, the other ones can't pair because they overlap. So, yeah. So that's why it's like, okay, everyday arms. That's great because my upper body seems to like need some straightening out. So, fine. Every day. So, every day, 7 days a week, I'm actually in there relaxing for an hour. Yeah.
Is the shoulder clicking
It it,
start doing
it
anything?
goes the shoulder clicking kind of goes back and forth. Yeah, it's still unwinding, but I get an interesting feeling with that arm thing and I'm in bliss. I'm like what I'm doing with my attention is feeling what it feels like. That's all. I'm just feeling there's really no thoughts to be with. I'm just feeling what that feels like. So I ended up having a little bit of a conversation with the nurse about how um, I found out that really the key to being in physical good shape is to have healthy fascia. And I've been doing block therapy because she's like, "What are you doing? Do you have an injury or what's going on?" You know, I'm like, "No, I'm releasing fascia. I'm into releasing fascia." And I was talking about block therapy and sharing how the way people look at fitness is very guilty and definitely saw reflections of that talking with people through the dating app. Their amount, they think they got to get a certain amount of protein every day. They think they have to do a certain amount of intense activity, um, where what we really need is deeper relaxation. And the nurse was like, "Oh yeah, I see." She's like, "I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get to do it. I'm gonna do my arms."
Mm.
I mean, that's a start to just sit there without being able to use your arms. And then that's only the start. I do a wellness stack, you might call it. Most days I do the compression therapy and then go in the sauna for a half hour, more silence, and then go in cryotherapy, full body cryotherapy for about 2.5 minutes. That's about enough of that. Um, and then red light therapy. So all these are quiet. They're in quiet. There's no earbuds, there's nothing like that. So that's a couple of hours per day and I see exactly how to be 100% helpful in all of my perceptions. And it's just natural, like Jesus talks about in chapter 1, miracles are involuntary. So you're just seeming to do whatever you're seeming to do, and miracles are just spilling out of you because of the way you see. You see things differently. I mean, one thing, just people seeing you relaxing and getting inspired that way. A lot of the times they're not going to tell you they're inspired by your relaxation. That's just one reflection. There's for every person that tells you they're inspired by your relaxation, there's a lot more that are touched by that. That even just realizing within themselves, wow, I can't even do that because I can't imagine being without my phone for an hour. I can't even imagine not touching my phone for an hour. See? And when you notice that, it's kind of like something clicks in because it's all mental. So it's like the idea that I can't do that. Why not? Why is that so scary? And then the questions start getting asked like that. And then the next thing you know, a person is going, I'm going to sit still a little. Let me just see if I can sit still for 5 minutes. And even that little 5 minutes, even 1 minute, even 20 seconds, it demonstrates willingness. That's why it's so effective. You demonstrate the willingness to your own mind to use it for this, whatever it is. So stop evaluating what it is that you seem to be doing and notice what it's for. That's how the willingness comes through, and you can know that you're being a blessing, not trying to get anything out of it.
Loving it was like in Cameo 14 or something where Jesus was talking to Bill and Helen about their friend Mrs. So and so, who she's just a natural miracle worker.
Oh, Mrs. Albert.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's just so these involuntary miracles only just because she's certain who she really is.
that's it.
Like, and
Thank you.
it's like, oh my god, that's such a sweet little.
But not only is she certain of who she really is, she look at how accepting she is in that story. Natalie's talking about Mrs. Albert. This is in one of the cameos from A Course in Miracles. I don't think it's cameo 14 because I think that's a chain of miscreation. I don't know what number it is, but yes, Mrs. Albert Miracle Worker is the name of the cameo in A Course in Miracles. And it talks about this woman who works in a hospital, and she's just very certain of who she is and who God is. And she's also not trying to evaluate herself or anyone else. That's why she's able to bring it through, kind of like merge it right into the self of form, the self that she made, which then becomes a miracle worker. Miracles just automatically spill out of a mind that's focused that way. And so it's sure of two things. You're certain about the truth, about who we all are, the self of unity, and you're also certain that the self of form, that includes your body, your thoughts, the whole world, is also perfect means for undoing this, undoing what we made. All bodies, not just yours. That seems to be the hardest one. I have a good example for you, too. I was talking with a friend of mine last night, um, and she was invited to some kind of show to talk about her life. Okay. So she has an interesting life. She hikes around and has a bunch of sex, right? And she writes about it. Entertaining, interesting. So she gets invited on this show and she's thinking, I want to express about A Course in Miracles because she loves A Course in Miracles and she follows it. And she got the sense that she was not on point. She came across confusing, didn't say it the way she really wanted to say it. She got nervous. She clammed up. And I know that kind of feeling. It's like something has gone wrong. I want to be better at this. I want to be better at talking. And of course, she's comparing herself to me. Why can Hope just talk about this in a really clear way? Seems so clear to me, and I can't do it. Well, the way I actually got to the point where it feels like I can express really freely and really well is uh, addressing those kinds of thoughts that are telling me I'm doing it wrong. Okay? Because that's really the root of it. Those thoughts are so fearful. And that's what what you're nervous of? You're nervous of your own self judgment. Those kinds of thoughts are telling you did it wrong. You did it wrong. You got to let everything be okay. You got to let everything be. And here's how it looks. Okay, I was coaching my friend on this last night. Here's how it looks. The thought comes up, you did it wrong, right? You don't want to push that away, but recognize that's impossible. Okay. Now there's a feeling associated with that. Also, you don't want to push that away, but recognize it's an effect. It's only an effect of thinking that you could possibly do it wrong, but to embrace the feeling. See, you want to get to seeing that you can't, not only can you not do it wrong, but however you did do it was exactly the way they needed to hear it. See, they wanted to hear it like that in the first place because they were not ready to wake up yet. They really wanted to hear it like that. They manifest you to say it in a way that maybe, who knows what's going on with them? Maybe that you look stupid, so now they don't need to look into that. They can do something else. Fine.
Fun.
You get this too?
Yeah, I've gotten that for years. Like,
Yeah, I
oh my
think
God,
you
you're
mentioned
receiving
it.
this. This is cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like they're still getting exactly what they need because this is what they need right now. They need to be in a mental state where this kind of stuff doesn't mean anything. It's not worth looking at, something like that. You trusting that it's exactly perfect for them and also perfect for you. This is where the acceptance comes in. This is what allows expansion. Okay, it used to be like that for me too, and it got processed out pretty quickly. I can remember back to probably 2013 or 12, where someone asked me to go on their radio show, and they were just like, "Ugh, disgusted." What? That was the perception I got. What a disgusting person I am. You know, the way I was saying things was not the way I meant them, and it just came across as being stupid, right? Like, why did I even waste my time having this person on the show? And I realized at that point, right? That was how many years ago? 12 years ago or something. I realized at that point what this is for, and let it be brought to the light, right? And also total detachment from needing to tell anyone, anything ever, right? I don't need to be anything. I don't need to do this with you guys. But apparently I do because I seem to be doing it. That's all. And it still comes up once in a while that I missed something or didn't explain something completely that I wanted to do on Wisdom Dialogues. But, that's just so meaningless to me. I got enough experience with that. I was sharing with my friend yesterday. I was like, man, there's just no nervousness about talking. Like, I get the sense I can go in front of a stadium and express it. But it was not always like that. For years, I felt like I needed to pee before a talk. For years, right? And it was always the same way, where after the talk, the ego would try to come in, but I noticed it and I was looking at it for a while. That I noticed that was the point where the practice came in, where the ego was coming in and saying, you didn't do it right. You didn't talk about that the way it should have been talked about. You better go look it up. Were you even congruent with the Course in Miracles? And you know what happens in my mind? I never go back. I don't go back and look. I don't really care. Because whatever it is that's expressed, I know that's perfect, right? And sometimes I'll write something, and the ego will be like, no one's liking it, no one's liking it, no one's liking it. And automatically it's like I just know that just getting that out into the field in a form of writing or words or whatever, that's the benefit. Just getting that out without trying to reel it back, without trying to evaluate it. It just is because of where it comes from. Even whether or not it's understandable, of course, I would like it to be understandable. That's why I started using AI. It's way more understandable. It's like you definitely know what is on my mind. It's like really like this is it. This is it. It's not, I don't have to read between the lines. And also take care of a couple arguments right in there, a couple ego arguments. You see that last one on evil, like there's no such thing as evil, and then just right in there, addressing ego arguments. I know what you're thinking. Stay with me. It's just such a joy to get it out into the field. It doesn't really matter. And, I've heard the kind of chatter from people going, well, I don't want to have to read AI. And it's like, man, you know what? There is no artificial intelligence. This is actually intelligence. I'm not saying the machine itself holds intelligence. I'm saying that all things are reflecting the mind. All things are reflecting the mind. And there's, like, for me, man, anyone wants to use AI to express their mind, I love it because then I can actually know what's on their mind because they can't fucking write it very well otherwise, right? And even taking that time to write it out, it's like you can get a really clear idea of how this person is perceiving. They're really like they're able to share it like that because you can talk gibberish into AI and then it'll just, okay, this is what this person, how do I know that? I take things that people write to me where they didn't use AI and I put it into AI. And then it tells me what they fucking mean.
Uh, One of my massage clients, her and her wife, they are using AI to work out their communication. They're just like, what is she actually like? She'll type in, what did she say to me? Because she actually does want to try to understand her wife. And
Right.
she's just like, oh my God, it's so helpful.
Yeah, exactly.
You can actually decipher her and help you
Yeah.
have more compassion for what she's going through.
And when you're triggered, especially when you're triggered, especially, you can actually go on AI and ask AI to be Jesus from A Course in Miracles and help you with a certain trigger before you try to help yourself by lashing out at someone. Yeah, there's nothing to be afraid of about anything that's transpiring. Everything that we're given are tools. You can say it's a given. Okay, it's a given. Whatever it is, it's like it could be some perceived flaw about yourself, some perceived thing that's unworthy in the world, or anything like that. It's a given. Whatever it is you find yourself entertaining yourself with, it's a given. Okay, nothing's wrong. All you need to feel better and to be happier and to feel free and to know yourself as you truly are is to be accepting the self you made, which is every single thing that comes up in the perception. And that's including the thoughts, the feelings, the people, the circumstances, everything. Nothing's left out of this. Just be in complete acceptance so that you can hear clearly about your reality. It's the non acceptance that makes this seem like your reality, and it makes it seem like you're trapped by a perceived reality. You are not. You're completely powerful. You have the power of God in your mind. And that's why everything that you perceive can be met like that as I am the full power of God meeting this thing in a field of consciousness that I'm projecting. I've got no problem here. Nothing can possibly hold me back. Nothing that I do, say, think, or feel can make me any kind of guilty. I am the perfect, holy Son of God. Let me see that now. Yay. I love you. Thank you for joining. Yeah. So I will be back on Wednesday. As far as I know, will be doing this twice a week until end of April, I'm going to say. End of April. So we have like 2.5 months for this. So let's have some fun. I never know what's going to happen when I travel around. Like, will I have network? Where will I be? I don't know. So let's make the most of the 2.5 months. Join me. I love it when you join me. Thank you so much. And go to hopejohnson.org. Again, I'm looking for donations right now to help me pay a man who wants to do TikToks of little clips of my videos. I think it might cost 200 bucks per month. So we'll see if that generates. And if not, no worries. I get to share with all of you and having so much fun. I love you so much. Thank you, Glenn. Thank you to everyone. Until next time, mahalo, aloha, and a hui ho. Yeah.